This is going to be so explain this one to me. I'm going to bring Angelo on here in a second. So let's say this. Whether you think I was going to start with Barkley, but whether you think Kenny Pickett sucks or not, the Eagles make a move with an already inferno going on with a quarterback coming off a bad year. You got a guy in Jersey who is a hometown Jersey kid, and you know the boys up there are going to be going Pickett Mafia. Hey, put my boy in. And Lincoln Financial, if that thing gets out to us, hey, he sucks, Hills. Well, wait, Barkley didn't have a lot of talent. This guy didn't have a ton of talent in Pittsburgh. They changed the coordinator out. That Canada got moved out of there. So, but Mason Rudolph was better. Okay. Why did they put fuel on the fire? I went and looked in the Bible and I said this. I go, it's got to be a page in here like 174. Only by the writing. So I'm reading it and I go, I'm not a very good reader. I went to the University of Miami. I'm going to get the man who translated this now to voice. He's Angelo Cataldi.
Yes, the audio book is out. It came out a couple of days ago. If you don't read, and I think maybe a few of the people that listen to my show didn't read, most of yours read, I'm pretty sure, Dan, but you can order it now on Amazon and all the other places where you get audio books. And wow, Dan, my God. Dan, can I start with something that might, I don't know, shock you? Howie Roseman is a good GM, especially if you're a talk show host, because he does a lot. His team may have quit this year, but Howie didn't quit. My God, he's got 3 moves a day. It's amazing. I give him a lot of credit for that. He's trying hard.
Do you think, though, that there was more of a come-to-Jesus conversation with the owner and the GM where they went like this, Angelo? They're spending money at running back. They're spending money on a linebacker. Whatever you think of the moves first, they're moving every single day.
Yeah.
Okay, on doing so. Is this desperation? Or is this just Howie being Howie?
It's Howie being Howie on steroids. All right. It's like Howie has always done a lot. Howie wins lots of off seasons. He only won 1 actual season, but he won a lot of off seasons. He's really good at that. And I know you, a week ago, you were heckling him and calling him the accountant. Well, you know what? He's juggling a lot of numbers to keep under that cap. I don't know how he's doing that. I don't need to know. All right. But my God, the moves he's made, I don't think the Eagles are going to win that many games.
I don't either.
I'll go up to maybe 5.5 or 6 now. But I still don't. I think it's too much with no coach. I don't. You made all these changes, but not the coach who choked out the season. But again, I just need a moment to marvel at all the things he does around free agency. It is remarkable. There's so many moves. I don't even think I can remember them all anymore. There were a lot of moves.
Well, there's one that was just made a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
You just mentioned it with a coach on a hot seat, a quarterback coming off not so great a year, and you got Kenny Pickett, who 2 years ago was a first rounder. And if you remember, you were still on the air, Angelo. He personally went and recruited him and scouted him for the North Carolina Pitt game. Yeah. He was sitting up there with the binoculars. He had to get on TV and look like the superstar GM. He was doing the whole thing. I mean, is this a smart move in your opinion?
Well, this broke so late, and I am retired. What'd they give up for Kenny Pickett?
Xander, can you put that up there for Angelo so that we can
get? What they have to give up to get Pickett?
They got a draft pick too back in exchange. So here, Angelo, here's what they ended up getting here. The Steelers get pick number 98 and 2 2025 7th rounders. The Eagles get quarterback Kenny Pickett and the Steelers' 120th pick. It's the similar value of what the Washington Commanders did with Sam Howell when they sent him to Seattle.
A 3 and 2 7s for 4. And Pickett. Good move, Howie. Howie, good. Now, first of all, I'll say this: Kenny Pickett has tiny hands, not like me. He's got.
But because Italians have big hands, you know what they say about guys with small hands?
Yeah.
Everything looks big in them. You know, you want to keep that there.
But you know what? Look, as a backup quarterback, sure, why not? If you're getting to the backup, this is a problem with a lot of the moves. All right, let me tell you why there's problems with some of these moves. A lot of these moves are name players that get you excited until you try to put them into the format of how good they're going to make the team. I'll start with Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's a big talent. Nobody's arguing that. But the thing he would contribute to the Eagles the most is he's a really good blocker and will pick up the blitz. They didn't need a good runner. DeAndre Swift was terrific this past year. He got over 1,000 yards, and they forgot about him half the games. So Barkley will help them to pick up the blitz. That is a lot for $40 million for a blitz picker up. I don't think you got that much better at the position, except in that one role. Did you get? I guess you're a better pass receiver too, but he gets hurt a ton, so you can't compute that. It's not a huge improvement on the team. It just helps you pick up the blitz, which I don't know. I mean, maybe you could have had a coach who figured that out himself. Didn't need to bring a guy in to do that. So I don't know how much that helped. The edge rusher, that's good, but I know they're bringing Sweat back. That broke today, too. They redid his deal. But where does Reddick fit in?
He doesn't.
He's out. So they're going to get rid of Reddick?
No, here's
better than any of the guys they brought in.
Here's what they did, Angelo. The Bryce Huff move is a lateral move because in New York, he only was on the field 46% of the time because he can't play the run.
Yeah.
Reddick is also in that category. So you can't have two edge rushers that can't play the run and can't cover. And so they really didn't add. They just moved money because they're going to move Reddick out the building. That's not an improvement on your defense with that Huff move.
That's the thing. See, there's a lot of influx. There's people coming in, but then you go, well, where do they help? All right, Gardner Johnson will help in the safety. He's better than what they had last year. But is he great? No, he's good. He's good. That'll help a little. If you have a coach now, Vic Fangio, who knows how to design a defense that can stop the pass. But they were 31st against the pass last year. Their two cornerbacks, who as far as I know are still there, Slay and Bradbury. When quarterbacks threw at the guys they were covering there, 60% of the passes were complete. And in all 17 regular season games, passers passed against the Eagles defense for a rating of 115, which is spectacular. And they made every quarterback look good. Are they going to be able to do a lot better there? Because they're not going anywhere without that. And I don't know. They got another linebacker. They got an edge rusher, and they got Johnson. So they got something there. But it doesn't. Xavier McKinney to me would have been a much better acquisition.
They got outbid.
Use that Barkley money for that first. See, to me, Howie likes to hear people say how many great moves he made. And Pickett's another name decision, right? But are they going to be better? If Pickett gets in the game? That means Hurts is out. That means they're screwed anyway, because Pickett ain't winning no championships. So what? Dan, 5.5 wins now. 5 wins in the tie. That's all I got. They're still going to have a bad team.
I'm completely with you, and
if they lose Reddick, no, if they lose Reddick, their defense is maybe marginally better than a year ago. Maybe not, because Cox isn't in the middle now either. I'm not sure they're very much better defensively. And offensively, I don't have Kelsey anymore. Good luck.
How about this, Angelo? Yeah. This is what I said about the Devin White. And everyone, I talked to Bruce Arians last night. Love the guy. And here's why they moved on from Devin. And think about what his contemporary is. Patrick Queen moves out of Baltimore. signs a 3-year contract extension in Pittsburgh at $18 million a year. This guy's on a 1-year prove-it deal, and 4 of the 5 years, he's not played well against the run. He's been one of the worst. You know who had higher ratings than him last year? Zach Cunningham had higher ratings than him against the run in the past. And here's what quarterbacks have been completing: 108 quarterback rating against him in pass coverage.
Yeah.
Where in the world do you know Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham had higher grades than him?
Wow.
And you paid $7.5 million for a guy because he was the 5th pick in the draft. And 4 of the 5 years, Angelo, the Bucs said enough. We moved on.
Yeah. I got to say that it seems to me that these coaches are going to have to come up with some really major moves to get the team back from where they were, the previous year. They're just, it seems to be, Dad, that it's exciting. I still react the way a talk show host does. I go, oh my God, we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. The fans will get all excited. People will buy tickets. They'll get more jerseys. And then they'll get out there and they'll go, they still stink. They lost, what's 5 out of 6, 6 out of 7, if you include the play. They were awful at the end of the year. Are they going to be really good now? No, they're not. It's like putting tinsel on the Christmas tree. It's shiny and nice, but it doesn't make it better. I don't think they're much better. And I hate to say that because I'm excited. I keep getting these alerts on my phone. I just figured out how to use those. And I go, wow, this is really a lot easier than what I used to do.
That's really wild. I love that. Angelo, here's my question with Barkley, though. Okay. Yeah. So you paid this guy $13 million now. All right. Does that mean now that AJ gets less touches, or is it Devontae, or is it Goddard, or is it – how are you going to distribute it when your offense the last 3 years, well, outside of Shane Steichen, hasn't been a real distributing offense? Yeah. Are they going to give him to validate the money? Like you said, I would have wanted that $13 million. At least it could have went towards Xavier McKinney, $17 million. That makes more sense on getting your team better and your better balance. Who's suffering here? How are you using him? Are you gonna go back, Angelo? Are you gonna go back to running 20 carries a game?
All right, maybe I can figure out how to get some touches for all these guys. Quez Watkins is getting 0 targets. He's done. All right.
Yeah.
Macias, that other guy,
the kid from Atlanta.
He's out.
He's done.
We got rid of Stahl, right? He went to the Giants.
Yeah, he's the Giant now.
Stinks, all right.
As Tiki Barber would say, you're dead to me.
Right. All those guys. All right. So now we got Devontae Smith. Yeah, he's getting plenty. AJ Brown, he's getting the most. All right. I don't care. He's the best player. Give him the friggin' ball. All right. I got to give some to my tight end. All right. So he's getting some. And then Devontae Parker, I guess he's going to be the 3rd receiver, right? Yep. He'll get a few. And then I'll use, I guess, Barkley is the closest thing they're going to have to an every down back that they haven't had in years, right? But he'll go down. He'll get hurt. He always does. And then what? And then you're back to Kenny Gainwell, and I don't know if
Boston Scott
coming back. Yeah. Whatever it is, it doesn't make them. They lost the best leader they had on offense, Jason Kelce. An irreplaceable part. And say what you want. I've been a big critic of Fletcher Cox, but he had a good final season. Yep. Everybody will acknowledge that. And now you got the young guys without the veteran in the middle that way. They're a 5 or 6 win team. That's all they are, Dan. All of this fancy maneuver and all this money spent. And by the way, inside sources tell me that all this money that the Eagles just spent, Jeff Lurie spent more on his new yacht.
He spent more on the 65-footer than he did on a safety.
Yeah, the yacht's really nice. I heard the yacht's amazing. It's even more impressive than Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, it's got an entertainment section too, so he can sit and watch his team go up in flames next year with 7 wins, sitting there throwing shit at the screen. I love it.
Uh,
Is there more pressure, in your opinion, now
mm,
on Jalen Hurts this year with the
yeah,
addition of Barkley?
that's a really good yes, because they did move some chips into the middle and went, all right, listen, we're going to spend even more money here because but if he doesn't come up big, if he if he plays next season the way he played the end of this season, um, there are going to be lots of questions. But don't mistake Kenny Pickett as any sort of a threat, because he's not. All right. Kenny Pickett was a first-round pick, and people thought he could be something. He did not prove that in Pittsburgh. He's not a bad backup. I mean, that's not a bad move, especially they didn't give much up when you look at what they got. But if Hurts doesn't do it this season, and if he has this 5 or 6 win season that I'm predicting, there's going to be a lot of clamor that he's not the guy.
You
I
know what,
still
Angelo?
think he is. I love him, but
I know you do.
I really
Angelo,
do.
but do you think, like you said, and I happen to agree, look, Pickett's got a lot to prove. He surely does. He didn't do shit when he was in Pittsburgh. However, is it more of a message that they're sending to the offense that, hey, we're bringing in a former first-round pick, a local kid, he's from New Jersey, a guy who went to Pittsburgh. I mean, again, I'm not saying that he's going to melt like Wentz, but isn't that kind of, if I'm a player and you make a trade for a guy to back me up, and I didn't have a good year the year before,
yeah,
human nature is going to be this, Angelo.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really fear him, but why would the front office do that?
Well, you're right that it ramps up the pressure on the quarterback, and I'll tell you who it ramps up the pressure even more on: the coach. They just spent all this money. Howie right now is sitting in the office, and he's going, once again, I got you some players. I got you some help. I plugged some holes. Now, don't go out and blow that in the next season the way you did this one. This is a kind of coaching situation where he might get, if they lose 3 of the first 4, he might get fired, right? And it's Sirianni. The problem is, it just makes no sense to make all these changes and not change the head coach, right? What are you saying here? You're not saying Swift was bad, so you had to get Barkley. You got Barkley because you needed somebody to block on the blitz. He's going to do a lot more blocking than even he realizes. Believe me that. And all these other guys that they got, if you're bringing in Huff, but you're losing Reddick, are you ahead of the game?
No. It's a lateral move.
Right? So there's a lot of tinsel there, and you got a better safety. But you're the one that let him go.
Are they admitting they made a mistake with that by bringing him back?
And Johnson, he left on bad terms. So I guess both sides had to eat a little.
Yeah.
They both had to go, well, I don't have a better offer. And the Eagles were going, well, we can't find anybody better to play that position, so we're bringing you back. But he's not great. We saw him get eaten alive. Where's the guy? Like when they brought
the game changer.
When Slay was in his prime, he came here. You knew you had a shutdown corner for a couple of years. He's not that anymore. And Bradbury's going to play again. Did anyone watch Bradbury at the end of the year?
Both corners had 3 picks last year combined, making $25 million.
No, you can't do that. You can't. Dan, it's fun. It's exciting. And it equals maybe half a victory. Maybe they can eke out a tie in one of those 17 games and have 5 wins and a tie. I'm not going any higher.
Couple last questions for you. Now, anytime you have a lot of moves like this, coordinators are now changed out. You're probably going to have as many as 6 new faces on the defensive side of the ball. of the 11, you're probably going to have a philosophy change a little bit in the way you're going to approach the game.
Yeah.
Is it too much change to have any kind of cohesiveness, especially when the organization, Angelo, doesn't take OTA serious? They don't take the exhibition season serious. How are you going to go and be prepared in September when you don't, as Javon Hargrave says, you don't work hard enough at it, and you're just going to plug these guys in, plug and play?
Yeah, Dan, this is why I come on your show. I love that's the best question. Are you going to maintain this wimpy philosophy of not using the preseason games to get your team ready to play the way you have the last couple of years, all the time that Sirianni's been here? Or are you going to get these guys on the field, take the risk that somebody might get hurt, and get them playing cohesively before the first actual game? That's the real question. And what's fascinating about that question is you'll know if they're doing the same thing. Sirianni comes, no, we don't need to play we're doing joint practices, and that's just as good, which it is not.
It's not quality reps.
No, it's not as good. It's just being afraid of getting injured. If they get the team ready, you'll know they really did change the philosophy. And if they don't, again, that's not coming from Sirianni anyway. It's coming from up top.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to see it, because you're right. They need to play together, and they need to play together in game conditions, and they need to not be on the field for the first time when the games count to figure out whether or not they can work together. You got to do it. They've got to start changing those philosophies. If they do that, they might win 6 games this year. Wow.
Angelo, Keith Byers was on yesterday, and he said that they weren't playing championship football after Thanksgiving.
No.
He said after Thanksgiving, you just saw them not play championship football. And he said for that team to be successful, they got to spread it around. They've got to do the things, and people have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Not somebody wanting the ball more, this guy wanting the ball more. He thought they didn't play football, and he said that comes from the coach.
Yeah.
That's a coaching decision right there. And that's the head coach not doing it and making sure they're playing championship football. Since Thanksgiving, he thought they quit.
Oh, they certainly were awful. And the fact of the matter is they were awful with the best leader on any team I've ever seen right there on the field with him, and Jason Kelce, and he's not there now. So who's going to fill that leadership void on offense? Lane Johnson's not that type. He's a great player, but he's not a leader type. I guess this is where Hurts really has to step up.
Would you ask him to come back, Angelo, Jason Kelce?
No, I would not ask him to come back. He sacrificed so much to play as long as he did. But I think you might have said to me, if they're midway through the season and they're doing okay, that was your thing.
Yeah,
right?
week 8.
He's very vulnerable to playing the last 7 or 8 games and then being ready if they're in the playoff position. He loves the game so much, and he wouldn't have to take that big a toll on his body. He might do that. I don't know. Personally, he had an amazing career. He ended it as well as anybody could end it. I hope he finds another job he loves, and that's what he does.
Finally here, Angelo, Jason Cole, I'm sure you know who he is, NFL Hall of Fame voter, works for Yahoo. He brought this up about Kelce. He thought the reason, and so did Howard Balzer, believe it or not, both those guys brought it up. They said, when you lose a guy like Kelce, the Eagles last year lost a little bit of their identity when it came to being a power running team at the end of the season last year, because they just didn't look physical and it looked more finesse. Now that you lose a guy who's a dominant physical football player in Kelce, the move for Barkley is to try to maintain, to get back to being that grounded out kind of team, a physical looking team. So it's kind of like you're replacing Barkley, you're hoping, with Jason Kelce to still kind of keep that identity. Do you see that tie-in? Do you buy that?
I see that you'd be more power running, and I saw that Kelce came out and said he was upset when he heard that they got Barkley because he would have loved to block for Barkley, right? That kind of ties in with what you were saying before. And previous time I was with you, where you went, one of the reasons Kelsey called it quits is he doesn't think the team's that good anymore.
He doesn't
and why
think they're tough.
sacrifice for that? Well, him saying that, God, I wish I was there to block for Barkley. He's saying, wow, I didn't know they'd be this good. They got Barkley, and he's still fighting it. Let me tell you, as somebody who retired a year ago, after you retire, your brain doesn't retire that fast. It's still thinking the way it did before. And he's going, maybe I had one more year in me. Man, maybe I.
No. Angelo, you're still needed.
Oh, no,
you're still
I know
needed in that town.
Here's Howie getting the money for Kelsey. Come on, Howie, he must be 20 million over the cap by now, the way he's doing this. But it's fun. I love it. This is why football is the best. It's year round. It never stops.
They got an absolute lockdown when it comes to the NFL calendar. I'm going to leave you with this here. If I always grew up, I wanted to be like Randy White, or I wanted to be like Mean Joe Green. I wanted to be those guys. And I've been saying this to everyone. Angelo, if I could be anybody in today's league, I want to be Kirk Cousins. I'm going to tell you why. He's made $412 million. Brady made $375 million in his career. This guy's made $412. I mean, look, he's that just shows you that there's like a talent issue in the league when you're paying people like Dak Prescott $60 million and Kirk Cousins $46 million. I mean, it's unbelievable. I've been shocked with some of the money that's been thrown around.
Right. Well, I got to say this. When it comes to guys that did little and got paid a lot, the number that always jumps out at me is Kevin. We may have lost. Okay, I got you there. Kevin Cobb, I believe in his awful NFL career, made over $100 million, which is just amazing. Because he's probably now looking at the same yacht place where Lurie went. The guy's got all this money. Kirk Cousins, he hasn't sniffed the championship, and he's got all that money. It is crazy.
One playoff
really nuts. But Dan, if you can get it, get it.
Amen. Amen. And speaking of that, if you can get it on Amazon. And now, in case you missed the golden tones of Angelo in the morning, he also has the book now on audio. Where can they get that, Angelo?
Yeah, Amazon is probably the fastest place. I know audible.com has them too, but
the blog too.
I always avoided audiobooks because I thought they were a competitor to radio. My wife loves them, and she oversaw some of the recording of it, so it came out pretty good. Didn't come out bad.
How about the blog?
Oh, yeah. AngeloCataldi.com. Every week, I add some dumb comments on what I saw over the past week. So still get them free like you did on the radio. Just go to the website. Dan, I love talking to you, my man. Anytime you need me, I'm right here.
What's that?
You're the man.
Thank you, my friend.
You're the man.
Thank you, Angelo Cataldi. Damn. Woo, man, the Eagles are good. Okay. Do you think anyone in this chat can read why you're promoting a book in this chat? Dave, try to stay with us here. Okay. Try to stay with us. And look at LJ. Angelo's thirsty for book sales. The guy made $3 million for 20 years. I don't think he's starving for anything, dude. Oh, unlike the ticket prices that the Eagles posted, you see that? Average tickets have gone up $400 in 2 years per ticket. Hey, someone's got to pay for AJ. Someone's got to pay for Jalen Hurts. You think it's the Yachtsman? Hey, Xander, there's the new one. You think the Yachtsman? No, you see, the guy in the back of the boat is called a coxman. row, row, row. So he's not a coxswain because the coxswain is the guy in the back of the boat that goes, row, row, row. Okay? So he's more of like the yachtsman. Okay? Yeah, he's the yachtsman. And the yachtsman, man, hey. Hey, Barb. Come on now. You know what a coxsman is. He's the guy in the back of the boat. I'm very sure you know what a shuttlecock is, too. That's the little birdie that you have when you play badminton. Let's not go in the gutter here, Barb. Come on now. Not everything has to be down there in the garbage can, or it has to be there in the gutter, Barb. Okay? Barb's like, Hills, I sure do. Very cool. Hey, we're going to talk to John McMullen at 4:30. I can't wait to get John's take. Kenny Pickett, baby. Hey, Pickett season. Pickett season starting. Yes, sir, baby. Let's go, Kenny Pickett. Let's go, Kenny. Let's go, Kenny. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.